Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out, all the people in Zoomlandia. Very difficult sometimes. Our studio, we're going to try to make it a little easier here. So essentially what we're going to do first is, presupposing that you already have our studio being the interface. So the first thing we're going to do is do exactly what we were doing before, is how do you upload this ice cream? You just come over here. It's a CSV, although being from Massachusetts, I like CVS. That was from Quincy, Massachusetts, but it's ice cream. So here you have ice cream and you say, import this data set. So what we're going to see up here is you're going to wait until the ice cream is there. Now, if you don't have the reader package, that automatically, at least for me, downloads when into your R, and then you don't have to do it again the first time you import, but so we import that. Now, don't forget, once it is imported, we essentially have to now attach it. So you attach it, ice cream, boom. Make sure you attach it, and then you have all of those. Now, I'm not going to dedicate time now to how to change the names, say you want to write full out consumption, etc. But this is consumption, income, price, temperature. Consumption in this case is the dependent variable, the result. Income is a potential independent variable, price, independent variable, and temperature independent variable. So what we're going to do here first, even before this, if you remember, how do you install packages? Well, let's just say, for example, I want to do the inequality, and you need the quotes after that. Inequality. Okay, that's the package we'll be using. It's already on my computer. I don't know what it'll say. Oh, see, it just comes up probably normal. It's already on our studio. So now I gotta wait. But I was just reminding you, anytime we use packages and you don't have it already, you have to essentially install the package. So this is installing packages, blah, 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 install packages. It has to be with the quotation marks. I had it already installed, so I hope sometimes R gets funny like that. So hopefully this will successfully unpacked. That's good. I have had some problems in the past with some packages. Now we have to get it out of the library. I don't know why it's running a bit slow here. Maybe because I already had it. I'm not sure. And here we go. Then you got to get it out of the library, right? So you get library. So that comes out. So you have to get it every time out of the library. Now I want to do what we did before, the Gini coefficient. We can use either inequality, and then it comes up, you got to put it in parentheses, and then look at this income here. So we're just doing the Gini coefficient, and as I remember, let's take a look at very low Gini coefficient, which means there's not much variance in the data there of income. The higher the number, as you know, is one being very unequal. This is very equal, and you can see it when we do after. Also remember, you can do the Gini as Gini coefficient. Oops, I did inequality instead of income. So you do income, you get the same number. But remember when we were plotting it, that's very, very important. So here we're going to plot it. Capital LC, that's the Lorenz curve, income, very basic stuff here. And then we get a plot, which is pretty cool. And then you can just zoom it in. You see it. Oh, wow, there's not much of a curve. The bigger the curve, the more the inequality, as you know. So right there, we just did something that's very important. On the first day, we did this, depending on, what class you're taking with me. I show these videos to a number of classes. But this is very good because you basically just learn, you have our studio, you have R, you learn how to upload a package. Then download a package, sorry, install the package, inequality in this case, get it out of the library, attach the document to ice cream, which is a lot of fun. Everyone loves ice cream, except for me. Sugar's a little too high, can't do it. But anyways, and then do a basic plot. And then we just did the Lorenz curve, and we see there's very little variance within this number, within this, sorry, little data set of income. And don't forget, you know, this is very important. So you might learn about the Gini coefficient, but now you're actually running the Gini coefficient. So that's what makes you using a program language. R is very, very popular with statistics. Python, more so in programming, but it also does statistics. But this will be great to put on your resume, cover letter. You know, we'll talk about it in an interview when you go get a job, and you'll be reading stuff where statistics is actually very important for law. The other thing I just wanted to finish up with this really quick video is the correlation. Remember, for the simple correlation, before we get into R squared, multiple R squared, etc., we're just doing little correlations, one being a perfect correlation. So if we do the consumption, that's the dependent variable, with, say, income, right, because we've been doing that, you get a very low correlation, meaning consumption of ice cream does not move much depending on the income of the person. But again, as we saw in this Gini coefficient Lorenz curve, you are essentially, there's not much variation anyway. So it's like, you know, that's probably quite predictable. Then you want to do the correlation, simple Pearson correlation with price, consumption, and then price. And as you know, you get a negative. As price goes up, consumption goes down, but not too high. And that would be important if you're in a business or something like that. That's very important because for basic statistics, because, you know, you want to know if you have an ice cream place, you increase the price of any business, how much does that consumption decrease? So you start seeing the significance of statistics. And then you can look at temperature. Correlation of consumption and then temperature, right? And as you remember, that one's pretty strong. I mean, out of one being the strongest correlation, 0.77 is very good. And then, you know, what you can start doing, as we did before, you know, plotting it, temperature, remember X first in this one case, this is just the default. We'll be doing ggplot2 later, you know, and then you have, you know, temperature, consumption, right? So that's pretty cool. Then you just hit the button and you get this plot. So you zoom it in. Wow, you do see that all of these data points do begin to go up as temperature goes up, consumption goes up. That means the hotter it is, more people consume ice cream. So you begin to see what might be called a significant correlation with that, as I talked about before, when we start doing regression, although we're not just like M for model, the linear model regression, you basically do consumption, temperature, as we talked about before. I'm going to explain this all to you later, but then you have to do a summary of it. And then you get the big M, and then all of our data is out, and we're going to learn how to read all this. But for now, R for the p-value, this is significant. Although a lot of statisticians observe that the p-value is a little overused, it's still useful. That temperature here is significant. And that means it's not by chance that it does go up because of temperature. That is, consumption goes up. But the point here, what I use this at the very beginning, is not necessarily to understand all this stuff. That's the multiple R squared. That's still good. Coefficient correlation here. Look at that. I mean, 0.6, that's good in the social sciences. Adjusted always goes down. You got the F statistics. We'll talk about that later when you start having multiple independent variables. Again, the p-value very low, which means we could say it's significant depending on, you know, what we start running and the estimate and everything else. But I wanted to go over the ab line as I wonder if you can do it with the M. I don't usually, yep, you can. I don't use default as much anymore in R. I use ggplot2, which we're going to be going over. But you got the AB line, the line of best fit goes right directly through these data points to show you. It's a good visual communication to show that where the data points fall within this graph. So this is very important. If you take a look at it, you know, here are the data points. You start seeing, see, oh yeah, that's the line of best fit. Put in the middle, and these are going to be the sums of squares, the deviation away from your model, whatever your model is, and you know, the lack of explanation. But you're never going to have a perfect model. So if this is going up, like this is pretty good, and you start seeing the points, you obviously see outliers, but you know, you do see a good amount of data going up attributable to temperature. And then we use the p-value, that this is not by chance, that this is essentially attributable to temperature. So we can conclude, based on just rudimentary statistics, that the more temperature, higher it is, the more consumption of ice cream, which is very important for a business. So if you do have a business, that's very important. And that's kind of a lot of fun. So this is kind of the first basic stuff we were going over in statistics. So that's everything we've done. I mean, this is just, you know, the beginning of the class. So this is actually pretty good. You've actually conquered a good amount of statistics in a very limited amount of time. So you should be pretty proud of yourself out there in Zoomlandia. So as again, just go back, look at the video, remember any quiz, for example, you have, you say, you know, you'll have to remember to get it out of the library. Remember, you have to install packages, you have to attach these things. This is very case sensitive. That's something a lot of students always say, oh, I'm not getting it. Like, oh, I tried to plot, let's say, temperature and consumption, and it's like this. Oops. People put like a capital where it doesn't go, and then they get, oops, it ended up changing it actually. So look at that. Look at it, then you get an error, etc. So watch out for some of these things. You know, it's not space sensitive. I've always thought that that was kind of interesting. Temperature. You got to make sure that you got that comma. There you go. You got it. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if there's spaces, but it is very, very, if you have capitals, lowercase, uppercase, etc., very sensitive on that, but no, it's spaces. So, you know, everyone, thanks for listening to this. This is just very basic R Studio. It's very user-friendly now, not like when I learned it. And, you know, email me if you have any questions whatsoever. Take care, everyone, and stay safe in this coronavirus, the crown virus.